Showdown Plus was a game mode introduced in 2021 and it was added to try and stop teaming. This was a game mode that was liked by tons of players and it received a ton of support from the community. However, according to the devs, it just wasn't good for the game and that's why it would end up getting removed. This game mode that had seemed almost perfect ended up getting removed and being labeled as a failure, and today we'll just be going over why that was and if there is a possibility for Showdown Plus to get added back into the game. Showdown Plus was a variation of the regular Showdown mode in Brawl Stars. In this mode, players would compete in a battle royale style match just like in regular Showdown, but the main difference was in how trophies were awarded. In Showdown Plus, players would gain 2 extra trophies for each opponent they eliminated. However, they would also lose 2 trophies if they were eliminated themselves. And at the beginning, it only used to be 1 trophy. However, that number had been doubled to try and make the mode better. This was different from regular Showdown, where players only gained or lost trophies based on their final placement in the match. The trophy system in Showdown Plus was designed to encourage more aggressive play. In regular Showdown, players could gain trophies by simply hiding and surviving until the end of the match. But in Showdown Plus, players had an incentive to actively seek out and eliminate other players. This was meant to make the matches more exciting and fast-paced. It also meant that skilled players who could consistently get eliminations could earn more trophies than they would in regular Showdown. But the biggest reason for the addition of this mode was due to the teaming issue inside of normal Showdown, and this was a problem that was really just starting to get big at the time, and it wasn't even as bad as it is today. Inside of solo Showdown, teaming would become a bigger problem the higher up you went in trophy count because the number of people who could gain trophies just got lower. This meant that at the higher trophy counts, it would be beneficial for people to team up and work together to survive and make sure they could guarantee getting some trophies. This was a tactic that a lot of people really didn't like, and this would just progress and grow to people creating Discord servers or just other groups for teaming, and at that point it would be win trading instead of just simple teaming that happened inside of the game. Showdown Plus was introduced as a way to solve the teaming problem. The developers thought that by giving extra trophies for eliminations and taking away trophies for being eliminated, players would be less likely to team up. The idea was that players would want to fight each other to get more trophies rather than working together. This would create a more competitive environment where every player was trying to eliminate others instead of forming alliances, as that was supposed to be more beneficial to them. The developers also hoped that Showdown Plus would make the game mode more skill-based. In regular Showdown, players could sometimes gain trophies just by hiding and avoiding conflict. But in Showdown Plus, the best way to gain trophies was to actively engage in fights and win them. This was meant to reward players who were good at combat and strategy, rather than those who were good at avoiding conflict. When Showdown Plus was first added to the game, many players were excited. They thought it would finally put an end to teaming and make solo Showdown fair again, and the community was generally very positive about the new mode. Players liked the idea of being rewarded for eliminations and felt that it made the matches more exciting and actually gave a purpose to killing. But despite this, there were still a fair amount of skeptics and, well, they would end up being correct. Despite being a fun mode that let you get more trophies, Showdown Plus ended up failing to solve the teaming problem. At higher trophy ranges, players still found ways to team up. Some players would team up at the start of the match and then betray their teammates later to get the extra elimination trophies. This meant that teaming was still happening, just in a different way. Instead of eliminating teaming, Showdown Plus had in some cases just changed the nature of how players teamed. In the end, as long as the teamers got the kills and placed high, they would just end up profiting either way, and they would just be able to progress even faster and get more trophies. And this brings us to another issue, which was with trophy inflation. Because it was possible to gain more trophies in Showdown Plus than in other modes, some players were able to reach high trophy counts without actually improving their skills too much. This would just lead to people progressing faster without the teaming issue actually being fixed, and even though most players didn't mind because they were able to get more trophies, the developers did have a problem with this because it messed up the balance of the game. The game mode also had some unintended effects on gameplay. The whole point of the game mode was to make things more aggressive and to get rid of teaming, and so far, we have seen that the teaming problem didn't really go away. And then, as for the aggressive part, well, this was both a good and bad thing. You definitely had people become more aggressive, however you also had a ton of people that just played more passively in order to try and steal kills, since that actually mattered in this mode. Kill stealing would become a pretty big problem, and this made the aggressive players less happy because they were playing more risky to just get their kills stolen by someone camping in a bush. This would take away from the spirit of this game mode, and it definitely wasn't good in that regard. So, when Showdown Plus was removed from the game, there were mixed reactions from the community. Many players who had enjoyed the mode were disappointed, and they felt that even if it wasn't perfect, it was still better than regular Showdown. These players argued that the mode should have been kept and improved rather than removed entirely. They pointed out that Showdown Plus had at least changed the dynamics of teaming, even if it hadn't eliminated it completely, and that this was just a more fun game mode in general because it was more aggressive and faster paced. On the other hand, some players were relieved to see it go. They felt that Showdown Plus had made the game less enjoyable and had failed to solve the teaming problem. These players argued that the mode had just replaced one set of problems with another, and that removing it was the right decision. Some players also felt that Showdown Plus had negatively impacted other game modes by making them seem less rewarding in comparison. This led to a lot of debate in the community about whether removing the mode was the right decision. Some players suggested tweaks that could have been made to improve Showdown Plus rather than removing it entirely. Others felt that the developers should focus on creating entirely new modes to address the teaming problem rather than trying to fix Showdown. But overall, I say that a majority of people definitely preferred playing this game mode and that it wasn't as bad as some people made it out to be. The devs would say that the reason for removing the mode was because only about 50% of people played Showdown Plus, and that just wasn't a big enough number to continue with the game mode because it just led to people getting more trophies without there actually being any sort of trade-off. So I suppose the reasoning made sense, however I also really think that there could have been a lot more done to the mode in order to actually make it better and to try and remove teaming, however the devs just never went that far. After the removal of Showdown Plus, there would be the addition of a new game mode called Duels, and I suppose this was another attempt at getting rid of teaming, and well, this obviously worked. This was a mode in which it was just a 1v1, meaning there obviously couldn't be any teaming. Only one person could win and one person could lose. This definitely was a bit more extreme, but it obviously worked, and this was a mode people could play if they just wanted a truly solo experience, and this game mode definitely wasn't bad at all, and it makes sense why this game mode is still around to this day. However, when it came to teaming and solo showdown, well, that problem just continued to get worse, and the devs just basically accepted that it was a part of the game, and that is why I just don't think the issue is going to be fixed unless they change their stance on that and try to actually stop teaming. This is also just an issue that has divided the community because there are many people that support teaming and other people that are against teaming. It has just been a thing in the game for so long that it is just a part of the game now, and it seems like the devs just support it. So overall, Showdown Plus was just a game mode that was really similar to the normal Showdown. However, it was designed to get rid of teaming and just promote a more aggressive playstyle. This would work to an extent, however, it would be more or less a failure in the eyes of the devs because it just didn't accomplish that goal all that well. But in the eyes of the players, Showdown Plus was a really good mode that was fun and also just great for progression since you could get extra trophies by killing players, and that just meant you got trophies faster, and it also made lower placements not feel as bad if you got at least 2 kills or something. But it just seems like this was an experiment that failed for the devs, and now they have given up on the whole teaming and win trading problem inside of the game, as the devs have just accepted it is a part of the game and it doesn't seem like anything is being done to make it better. But that's also it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.